Hi, I'm Debbie Georgatos. Welcome to my show, America, Can We Talk? Today, we're going to talk about the Texas race for America. Texas CD13 candidate Chris Ekstrom joins me. Democrats detest the people. And tonight, Trump Phoenix rally versus the Democrat Las Vegas debate. And, of course, I'll tell you why these stories matter to you. Stay tuned.
Debbie Georgatos, host of America Can We Talk, is an author, attorney, and political analyst whose mission is to inspire the American political conversation about preserving liberty in the best country on earth.
And hello again and welcome to America Can We Talk and to today's First Five. I'm Debbie Georgatos. Those of you who watch my show on Facebook noticed last night, in fact, I had some comments from some of you, noticed that we were live streaming an event on my Facebook page, my America Can We Talk show Facebook page, live streaming an event. And some of our listeners to the show were saying, what is this? Who are these people? It's actually a perfect thing to tell you about today's First Five and really good kickoff to the show today. So last night in Dallas, there was a candidate forum. This is for the U.S. Congress, Texas CD, which is Congressional District, CD32. This is a seat that has been held by a Republican for at least 20 years. And in the 2018 midterms, Congressman Pete Sessions, who in fact was was a prominent in leadership member of the Republican caucus in the Congress. He chaired the Rules Committee. He was defeated in the 2018 midterms. And for the first time in a long time, a lot of people in my district here in Texas are represented by a Democrat named Colin Allred. So last night, there was a debate among the five people. There are five Republicans who are looking to try to win the Republican nomination in our primary here in Texas in March 3rd, so it's coming right up, and then obviously ultimately to try to defeat Colin Allred and have our district return to Republican representation. So at the event, so I was asked to moderate this event and ask the questions in this forum and ask the questions. And as we were getting set up for the event, it turned out that where they had planned to live stream this candidate forum didn't work out right, so they live streamed it onto my Facebook page. But I'm really glad they did, and I want to share a bunch of things about this. And really, in this 2020 election year, what I'm about to say applies to every district in the United States of America. Number one, there is overwhelming Republican energy in this country. Overwhelming Republican energy for the Republicans to take back control of the U.S. House. This event was at a forum. We had 300 seats. Lined up, set up, lovely seats, big stage, nice forum. 300 seats, all filled. We had standing room only, people jammed in across the back, people standing in the lobby. This was in a very large building, standing in the lobby, couldn't even get into the room where the forum was being held, listening to the forum in the lobby. I'm telling you, there's huge Republican energy in this election 2020. And it really is in great part because Donald Trump has managed to inspire Americans to love this country and to be on the side of restoring America. And because Republicans are watching how radically left the Democrat Party is in this country today. AOC and Bernie Sanders are only different from Democrats in Congress because they're more honest about their leftism. The Democrat Party of today, the leadership of the party, the one that shapes the policies, that makes the decisions, that party has been taken over by the radical left. It is no longer just a liberal, but on the American playing field party. Radically left is where the Democrat Party lives, which leads to my second point. The incumbent in this particular area in Dallas, this is it's a residential community. It's obviously it's not rural or anything. It's a suburban residential Dallas community, is represented for the first time by a Democrat, first time in 20 years. And he's a very nice guy. He's friendly, he's nice, he has a nice smile. And a lot of Republicans say, well, he's a pretty nice guy. He's okay. There's nothing really wrong with him. And, he's doing a good job. And he comes back, he goes to Washington and he shows up and he comes back and he holds town halls and you can go talk to him. The end of the day, as one of the candidates pointed out last night in our forum, this very friendly, smiling, and very nice guy who's a lawyer, who has, lots of things in his record you could say make him a, least qualified candidate to be a member of Congress. This very nice Democrat who represents my district votes with Nancy Pelosi 100% of the time. And he's not alone. And this is a message to you and to your friends, to anyone who's saying that, hey, it isn't so bad, it might be really kind of cool if we have a Democrat. We don't always have Republicans. Understand, it doesn't matter how friendly the Democrat is. It doesn't matter how nice he is to his mother or to his wife or what a nice smile that he has. At the end of the day, female or male, Democrat members of the U.S. Congress are going to vote with Nancy Pelosi. When you elect a Democrat in your district, when you fail to stand up for a Republican, when you vote for a Democrat, you might as well picture yourself voting for Nancy Pelosi, or even more precisely, voting for AOC. There is no such thing as a moderate Democrat. That is a myth. So that's point number 2. Every district in this country standing up and voting for someone who has a D by their name, but they're still a really swell, nice person. You really like them very, very much, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, they're going to vote for Nancy Pelosi. That is the reality. Doesn't matter how nice they are. Third point, and last point in wrapping up today's first 5. I have been contacted by people in my district, this happens all over the country, where I have friends who are stridently, firmly committed to some issue. And so in this particular race I'm talking about, this is Texas CD 32, Congressional District 32. I have people contact me saying, you know what, this is just, we have no solid conservatives in this race. So-and-so believes in this, and so-and-so believes in that, and so-and-so believes. And because they're upset, and they are complaining about the policy positions taken by some of the Republican candidates for Congress, so they're complaining. Actually, this is an actual text message exchange I had. Someone, litany of what's wrong with every single candidate. And my answer is, and what you need to say to your friends is, and therefore what? What? What is the therefore? Is therefore means I stay home on primary day and let other people choose? Is it therefore even worse? You stay home on election day in the fall? Because after all, there's no perfect conservative running? Because the truth is, people, for thinkers in our party, for people who are strongly committed to conservative principles, strongly committed to preserving America, to being patriotic Americans, you're not going to find anyone running for office who agrees 100% with everything you think, except for yourself. You always agree with yourself, that's great. This idea that you think it's smarter to stay home because you can't find a perfect primary candidate, or you can't find a perfect candidate, or the primary candidate who won isn't 100% aligned with you, and that means you're going to stay home in November, you might as well vote for Nancy Pelosi. You've got to understand this, folks. These things matter. This is a crucial election year in America. You could feel the energy at this forum last night that aired on my Facebook page. I will tell you, it's long, it's about 2 hours, I think, and I'm not saying our listeners all have to listen to it, but understand the American people are looking for leadership in this country, conservative Americans. They want to find people who will stand up and speak up, and each of you have a job in your district. Look at the primary candidates, figure out who's most like you, stand up for him or her, knock on doors, make phone calls, whatever it is you're going to do, and whoever wins the primary, even if you think they're not perfect, understand, at least they're not Nancy Pelosi, or they're not a puppet of Nancy Pelosi, which is what every Democrat congressional candidate in the United States of America is. And that, my friends, is today's first 5. As I mentioned at the start of the show, we have a guest joining us in studio. He is sitting right here. I'm so happy he's here. Well, whoops, I've got my papers in order. I'm so glad you could join us today. Welcome, Chris Ekstrom.
Thank you. Hi, Debbie. Great to be here with you.
Glad to have you here, sir. So I'll tell you briefly, Chris Ekstrom is running for U.S. Congress in Texas for Congressional District 13. And I was looking at your district. I'm going to get to that in a moment. It is bigger. This is one congressional district in Texas, bigger than 13 states. 13 other states are smaller geographically than this district. One little point. But by way of background, very quickly, Chris Ekstrom is his description, conservative, Christian, Trump, Republican, identifies top issues in this race for him as a pro-life. I can't find my, you had pro-life and, okay, you can tell me, what are your top issues? Why are you running?
Well, the reason that I really got in this race, it gets right to the point of it, and that is this is the most conservative district in the United States by general agreement among political people. And there was no conservative running. So I have done a lot of activism, and I've been involved in helping a lot of other people get elected, Texas and otherwise. And I looked at it and I thought, this is ridiculous. We can't have this district, of all places, with a sort of establishment moderate type. And so I got involved and got into it because I am a real conservative. No doubt about that.
No doubt about that. I will tell you very quickly, my friends, this is a district that was represented by Mac Thornberry in Congress in Texas for since 1995. So it's like almost 13 terms, right?
Yes,
13
26 years, I believe.
Yeah. So 13 terms in Congress, Mac Thornberry, and as you were just hearing a moment ago, the most conservative district in America. So you need to have, we ought to have a solid conservative Republican in that race. And by other way, a quick background of Chris Ekstrom, because I want to be sure and tell you who he is. I've actually known him in politics in other contexts, but he's a strong, firm, clear-thinking, articulate conservative. He has a business background. After college, he helped lead a large construction company, upgrading digital cable networks. He worked his way up to vice president of operations of that company. He's been an entrepreneur for 25 years and is president of Ekstrom Properties, which is a successful commercial real estate investment firm. So now you have a business background.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay. And
I should say Debbie. You're right. That's better, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I can go with Debbie. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I do, and that's an important part of why I think I bring something different to the table.
Okay, so I want to tell you, on this last night, I don't know if you realized when I was talking about, but last night we had a forum for CD32 right here in where you are, right, no, or actually where I live anyways, CD32, and there were 5 candidates, and I'm telling you, the room was packed. I mean, 300 seated, packed to the gills along the walls, in the lobby. People had to listen out in the lobby.
Good.
And the energy, what people are really, I think, standing up for is they want to hear someone who is, in some degree, echoing what President Trump is saying. This is a good and noble country, and we're standing up to restore it. So you say you're a solid conservative. What do you think the top issues are facing America in 2020?
Well, I think getting the Trump agenda back online and on where it should be. We lost 2 years of the first 4 years with this nonsense, the Russia hoax and the sham impeachment. So we are, they've disabled us, which is what the Democrats do. They're obstructionists. We have some weak elements in our own party that didn't do what they ought to have done either. But fortunately, we came through. So I think we need to get this wall built. I think we need to defund Planned Parenthood. If we get control of the House back, there can be we cannot accept excuses. Paul Ryan should have got that done. He totally failed. He completely backslided on all of his promises over a long, long career. That's just a fact. And so the people that we send there next time should be held to a very high standard. Now, will we get control back this time? I don't know. I hope so. I think President Trump's going to do better than some people expect. But if we don't get it this time, we're getting it next time. And if we don't do what we're supposed to do with it, whenever we get it, it's going to be trouble in River City.
Well, I feel there are many Republicans disappointed because in the first 2 years after President Trump became president, we had majority in the House. We had the Senate majority, and we didn't repeal Obamacare. We did some things with Obamacare. We didn't repeal it. We didn't build the wall, and we didn't take that strong step many people thought we would do with respect to protecting life, to stop the complete disabling of funding, public taxpayer dollars funding for abortion. We didn't step up and do that.
I don't want my tax dollars used for abortions, period. It's ridiculous, and we have gotten this far down the road. And so you have to have somebody to be held responsible. President Trump has steadily moved, pardon me, in the right direction, and Paul Ryan is to blame, period. If you want to blame one person, and we should, Paul Ryan. So he's gone. And now we're gonna pick another one eventually. It's either going to be McCarthy, probably, Scalise, or Jim Jordan. I think it's pretty obvious where I tilt towards. But whoever it is, I really don't care what their excuses are. If I'm there in the Congress, I will be right up front and center, holding them to account every day on TV.
Okay, so you are pro-wall, clearly.
Yes.
You want the wall built.
Yes.
On immigration, do you think we need to do... I guess I was supposed to say, there's a term that sounds so leftist, so I'll try a better term, Do we need a major redo of immigration policy in this country?
If we had a major redo of immigration policy, we should have a moratorium on immigration. How about that? And then we'll just get people processed who have legally gone through the process, who have been slowed up in their legal pursuit of a green card or full citizenship, and then we'll go back to the drawing board, if that's what we did, and take a look at the 1965, I believe, legislation, and we can just redo that completely, because frankly it's been a failure and it has not been good for America, and we're now putting America first. So whatever the needs of America are with regard to immigration and some other considerations, that's what we should be doing. I do think we should actually overhaul and look at our whole immigration system again after a moratorium, though, if we're going to do it.
Yeah, I love the moratorium idea, and I know the estimates wildly range. Some people say there are 11 or 12 million people living in America with no legal right to be here. Others say it's more like 20 or even 30 million. Whatever the number is, it's a lot of people already in America with no legal right to be here. And the idea of shutting off immigration until we figure out who's here, process them, make a decision about what their legality is, what their place is, it's a great idea. So what do you think about the DACA people? Do you think that on immigration, the DACA people should be given a path to citizenship?
No, I don't. I think that amnesty and the DACA so-called plans are typical of the wishy-washy alliance between Republicans and all the Democrats. And those Republicans basically say one thing at home and then do another when they go to Washington, right? Which is why a lot of our Republicans, and I heard your opening statements about people being upset about this and then getting sort of disenchanted, not wanting to get involved. Well, that's hardly should be a surprise to us, right? Now, people should continue to get involved, and people should come out, and they should primary those rhinos who have lied to them. That's what they ought to do. And they should always vote and find on the ballot the people that you can vote for in good conscience. But this is a result of a big, long cycle, and it's not going to be cured by one cycle. It's probably a two-cycle event with regard to immigration. It'll probably be imperfect, but we can't accept the old compromises and the edging towards amnesty that the group of eight, gang of eight or whatever, they're no longer with us. Many of them, Mr. Flake has gone on to back to Snowflake, where he came from.
The aptly named, I always call him the aptly named Jeffrey Flake. Okay,
he was great.
Speaking of primaries, this is an interesting thing because, primaries, I love that we have them. I love that people can step up. But you and your district, Texas CD 13, if this is still accurate, you have 15 people in the primary?
15, yeah.
15. Okay, and this is because it's an open seat. The Republican is retiring. And so, a lot of people, if they ever thought about politics, this is their time.
Right.
But you're doing a lot of talking to people. I know there's kind of a top five people are looking at as really the likely winners, and now you're in that top five. So when you talk to voters, what do they care about? What are their big issues that just drive them to be involved in the primary?
Once again, the wall is a very big issue up there, and the perception that President Trump has been thwarted, and in some cases, really worse than thwarted. I mean, to some degree, it's a soft coup. Undermined, and a soft coup. Mm-hmm. I mean, this impeachment was completely frivolous. The impeachment process itself is sort of like akin to the death penalty. So now the other party, the Democrats, have to be questioned as to whether they're loyal opposition. The bottom line is you don't use the death penalty in a frivolous way and go after a presidency like that. It's a completely destructive to our republic. It's awful.
It is. I've talked about, as you might imagine on this show, so much talked about the Russia-Trump collusion hoax and then the impeachment and how it was such a sham. But right now there's an interesting issue, kind of a tug of war in Washington. Attorney General Barr and U.S. Attorney John Durham are looking into the term he uses, the predicate, the root of how this whole thing gets started, this Russia hoax gets started. And there are Republicans even, and certainly Democrats saying, look, the Mueller thing's over, we're going to move on. If you expose all these people, if you dig it out and you actually bring about indictments and accusations and let the whole world see what happened inside the FBI and the DOJ and then cooking up this Russia-Trump collusion hoax, you're going to end up causing the people to lose faith in the Department of Justice. So why don't we just leave it alone and move on? What do you say
Because
to
the
that?
people have already lost faith in the Department of Justice.
That's a true story.
And the FBI even worse. And the FBI is a shambles. I don't know how great it ever was, frankly, but certainly around the time that a bunch of guys, decided to ram with aircraft on 9/11 some rather large buildings, including the Pentagon, because perhaps partly the FBI was too sensitive to step on the tender sensibilities of some visitors here. Then you start to say the FBI is in a shambles and there's a serious problem. Here we are all these years later, they're still doing things like this. So I say expose it all, bring it all out, let's see what the problems are, let's change them, let's get rid of a whole lot of people, because every single one of them is replaceable. Every single one.
Whole upper echelon, whole leadership. Okay, so on to the next thing, this impeachment. And during the impeachment, of course, I think why many Democrats kind of backpedaled was because they realized we may have to have Biden's involvement with the Ukrainians and Burisma, all of that may become public knowledge.
God forbid.
Yeah, I know. Only Republicans have a problem with that. But
Yeah.
I want to get at the question. So what do you think if, for example, Lindsey Graham is saying, let's have a hearing. Let's understand what happened with Burisma. And so do you think that is something the Republicans should drop, or should they continue, at least the Senate side, continue to try to pursue what happened with Burisma, the Bidens, and the Ukraine?
Oh, I think they should consider continuing it at their own peril if they don't do it, by the way. I never thought I'd be agreeing so much with Lindsey Graham.
I know.
But, it just shows you never know, right? Life has some pleasant surprises in it politically, and that's one.
Absolutely. It is so funny. Well, when Lindsey Graham, in the midst of the Kavanaugh hearing, did his snarl speech, I can't tell you how my conservative friends were texting, who knew? I can't believe this. And he's still intermittently reliable. He's intermittently, sometimes he's right there. Sometimes you think, what is the guy doing?
But I mean, post McCain, something changed. I don't know what, but I'm glad to see this new Lindsey Graham.
Absolutely true. So I want to have our listeners be able to find you online. Before, I meant to do this at the start. So your Twitter for your campaign is @E, and his last name is Ekstrom, EKSTROM, @Ekstrom for the word FOR for, @Ekstrom for Texas on Twitter, and you have a website, which is also
EkstromForCongress.com.
Yep, Ekstrom for, I have it right. Okay, and so because I think that this is one of those races. I mean, I get in the middle of a lot of things, I know, but one of those races where if you are a conservative and you see this is a seat that is a solid Republican district, it's like plus 13 or something. What is it?
It's plus 33.
Plus
I mean, the Democrat in the last election got something like 18% of the vote.
Okay, so you win the primary, you win the general.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
and the
it.
primary is likely to go to runoff because of all these players.
Probably, yes.
Yeah. And so if people want to help you, I mean, honest to goodness, I want a rock-solid conservative. Oh, and by the way, I meant to mention, you did get the endorsement of Club for Growth.
I did, and I was endorsed by Andy Biggs, who's the chairman of the House Freedom Caucus, Ron Wright here in Tarrant County, who I helped in his election.
Who was here last week.
Oh, was he? Good. He's a great guy and doing a great job, by the way. He's one I'm proud of that I helped. Mo Brooks, who's a personal friend and who's somebody I look to as a sort of mentor. From Alabama, the congressman. So yes, I am clearly the conservative. I mean, there really isn't any debate in the campaign about that by the others. And we have a motley crew of 15, some very good-hearted people, a couple of them that should have thought about it a little closer, and then 3 or 4 that are in contention. And the major difference is a lobbyist versus me, a businessman and a conservative. Someone who's not proven in any kind of political field, and then a city councilwoman who's voted for tax increases, red light cameras. I don't know what else she's done, but
That's
none of
about
it's
enough
good.
to strike her off, whoever that is. Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, and that's why I got into it. I've never been looking. I think you know me well enough to know I didn't pursue things in a way that would be politically expedient to get elected. I've been pretty tough. There's a lot of people in this state who don't like me, and that's just fine with me, too. I have a little circle of friends who like me quite well, and they know that I'm out to do the right thing, and that's just the way it's going to be.
Absolutely. And actually, I would tell our listeners, Chris used to live in this area or somewhere in this area. And there was for people, if you ask them, what do you know about Chris Ekstrom? One of the main things you always hear is he's a rock solid conservative. He points out when things happen that aren't right, that there are decisions made even by Republicans or positions taken by Republicans who are not conservative. He's a guy who'll just say what's true, which is one of the reasons I just love that. And also, I want to mention about Club for Growth and tell our listeners something. So I had this gentleman who is a big donor to a lot of campaigns, and he approached me at a political event, to say, I want you to tell me, I get all this communication on all these races around the country, Senate races, House races, they're all asking me to donate. How do you figure out who the conservative is? He was asking me, how do I figure out? I'll tell you, one big answer I gave him was Club for Growth. And we've talked about Club for Growth before on the show. We've interviewed some people from there, but they look at not just who's, the smiley personality or, has a kind of a shiny resume, but who really at their core believes in the conservative values that conservatism stands for. So that's a huge thing to have their endorsement.
Yes, I'm really proud of that. And I used to use the word principles more. I've been using the word convictions, because I think of that as coming, out of your sort of your heart and your mind both. And convictions are tough to pry away from anyone. And when people go to D.C., it is a swamp. The longer they're there, the more problematic it becomes. And Club for Growth looks for people that are going to pick strong staff and are going to be real conservatives and fight for the issues we care about.
They certainly do. And that Andy Biggs endorsement is also huge.
Yes, that was another proud one.
Yep.
Texas Right to Life endorsed me, Empower Texas, Texas Values. So people here have known that I was a legitimate and sincere guy trying to push the dial in the right direction and get us some traction. And we went through some very bad days in the Obama administration. He truly was the worst president ever by far. And we were under attack and siege. It's not over. We got a lot more to do.
Okay, I want to turn then. We have just a couple of minutes left, but I was thinking through while you were talking about the questions I asked the candidates last night. I started off with one, and this can be our closing one, but the left is unapologetically advocating socialism. I mean, they have Bernie Sanders, at least is honest enough to say he's a Democrat socialist, but many of the leftist positions taken by the Democrat Party in their platform and their policy and bill proposals really are socialist in leaning. So this is my question, and this is a great one actually, because that was my launching question last night. I'll close with this.
Okay.
What's so bad about socialism for America? How would it hurt anything? Why is it wrong here?
Well, I just first want to say, Debbie, what happened to the slow boil? I used to hear about that slow boil. The what's wrong with socialism is it doesn't work. It's collectivist. It doesn't care about the individual. It takes the separation powers and it just destroys them. It's anti-constitutional. I'm not sure it's constitutional. I don't think the founders envisaged some sort of socialist paradise, but all of them turn into dystopias, every one of them. And the fact that it's still there just is a testament to the imperfectibility of man, because they can't give up on socialism. It's absolutely ridiculous.
That's actually a funny line. Evidence of the imperfectibility of man. Okay. Chris Ekstrom, thank you for coming in. I appreciate that so much. Great to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Okay.
Thank
bye.
you so much. Okay, folks, I have two more quick topics I want to tell you. And Matt the Wonderful, I believe I have time for two. Yes, I do. Two more topics. One I want to hit very quickly. I call this Democrats Detest the People, and I want to very quickly run through something. This was actually an op-ed, an opinion editorial in the Washington Post. I believe it was this morning. No, it was yesterday. This was the actual title. I'm not making this up. The title was, "To Fix the Primaries, Let the Elites Decide." This is a professor, a political science professor whose name is Julia Azari. She's a leftist political science professor at Marquette University, and her basic argument is this: the Democrats are in a world of hurt in their primary. They have however many are still left, I don't even know, but they have Bernie Sanders in the lead. Every Democrat worth his salt realizes Bernie Sanders will not win the general election. Yet here they are. They have the masses, they have millennials supporting him. He's the number one choice. Now they have Bloomberg rising. Bloomberg is, what the Democrats hate, a rich white guy, a rich old white guy. They hate that, and they can see he's buying his way into the campaign. They don't like that. And so she's lamenting that basically the voters are just a bunch of rubes, not smart enough to be trusted with this system of selecting a candidate. Her suggestion is forget about letting the voters choose the primary candidate. Why don't, her suggestion is, and she calls herself and the ilk that she hangs with the elites. She's saying, put together a small group of elites, let those people they can be representative, they can understand the viewpoints of various factions of the Democrat Party, but they'll come together and they'll select the primary candidates. You can still may have 2 or 3, but they'll decide instead of this unwieldy mess they have on the left, in addition to Sanders and Bloomberg. They have Klobuchar, they have Buttigieg, they have Biden, who's kind of out of it, but still he's there. She's saying this is a mess, we look terrible, and she's basically saying the American people, the Democrat primary voters, are just too stupid to be trusted to choose their primary candidate. What she's saying is she doesn't believe in the idea of America, of idea of self-governance, of the idea of we the people. And you can say, and by the way, on our website, americacanwetalk.org, on the homepage, under shows, drop down list of links, you can read what she said. I am not exaggerating. But she makes a point that I make in the show very often, and it's a good example to say it again. The Democrats actually don't believe that the people have the right or the capacity, the mental capacity, to do self-governance. This is why they feel perfectly comfortable in Washington since the moment President Trump won the presidency to work to undermine him in one way or another, to bring about his removal, because they actually don't think that people in this country had the right to choose the president. They think that people who like President Trump, who show up at his rallies, who are enthusiastically supportive, those people are just too stupid to be allowed to pick the president. This woman, I thought it was, number one, astonishing. She arrived at this suggestion. Secondly, she's not even embarrassed to write it down and send it in the Washington Post. And third, the Washington Post editorial board thought, wow, this is a cool idea. Yeah, here's a good way to get these rubes out of here. Let's just get rid of all these people who are too ignorant to be allowed to pick or even to pick the nominee for the Democrat Party. I tell you, people, the Democrat Party detests the people. Final topic for today, and it's kind of a fun one to wrap up on, but tonight you have 2 conflicting events you could choose. If you like to watch television at night, political television, you could either watch President Trump doing a fun rally in Phoenix, Arizona. Their primary is coming up, I think, in like mid-March or something. But anyway, he's doing one of his rallies in Phoenix. Or you could watch the Democrat debate in Las Vegas. The Democrats are debating on stage in Las Vegas. The Nevada primaries is coming Saturday. So it's the last debate of the Democrats before the Nevada primary. Not a huge number of delegates, but the party elites are very worried because Joe Biden, they're like, ace in the hole, guy's gonna save us in 2020, has fallen apart. I want to hit a couple quick points about the Democrat debate tonight, and then talk about the Trump rally, and then tell you which one I would suggest you watch. But on the Democrat debate, there's growing concern on the left that Bloomberg, the B billionaire, the richest one in the race, is buying his way in. Bloomberg will be in the debate tonight in the Las Vegas stage. Bloomberg will be there, but not Tom Steyer, the other billionaire in the race, because Steyer couldn't meet whatever the standard was a Democrat. I could tell you, but it's boring. The Democrats set a certain standard in order to be in the debate stage. So who they have left is Elizabeth Warren, who's tanking, Joe Biden, who's tanked, in my opinion, Bernie Sanders, the winner so far, leading and making most of the establishment extremely fearful. You have Amy Klobuchar, who is mostly nondescript, but I think she's like a safe bet for a lot of Democrats who think they can't support Republicans. She seems at least innocuous. Bloomberg buying his way in, and Pete Buttigieg, who is, his experience basically is pretty much a failing small town mayor. That is their lineup. And this is why this woman is writing about in the Washington Post, can we let the grown-ups or the elites pick? But the other thing to say about tonight, before I turn about the Trump rally, I want you to listen from this perspective. When Trump does a rally, he's basically celebrating America. He's happy. The people at the rallies are happy. My husband and I'm not a rally person. We have been to a Trump rally. Everybody there, from the people standing in line 6 hours outside to the people you see standing around talking. You have to get in hours early. They're happy. They're upbeat. They're cheerful. They love life. They love America. What you hear out of the Democrats, you will hear tonight in the debate and every debate they have. It is complaints about America, criticism of America, denigration of America. You hear accusations that America is racist, xenophobic, homophobic, hateful, selfish, greedy, all those things. And I want you to think about something. Who are the Democrats calling racist? Who are they calling? Who are they saying that's true of? Because I think they hope that most Americans will hear them and think, well, I'm not racist. They must be talking about, my neighbor down the street or somebody I don't know or someone out there in the world. They are accusing you. You have to get that clear. The Democrats who are in this race are accusing everyone who will not vote with them of one or more of the labels they use: racist, xenophobic, hateful, homophobic, whatever the word is they come up with. The accusation is being made against you. You are being told that is you, and you're being told that's how they see America. This is how they bring supporters to their side, to get people so frightened of the picture of America, so frightened of America based on the picture they're painting, that people think, my gosh, I better vote for the Democrats because our country's filled with selfish, greedy, racist, homophobic, horrible people. I better jump on board with the Democrats. They're going to save us. But I think what's happening in this election cycle, President Trump has managed to instill not just enthusiasm for him, because Trump didn't really run on, his long history with the Republican Party. He ran on America. One word to summarize what he ran on: America. It's a good country. As I say on the show all the time, it's a noble country filled with good and noble and generous people. The vast, vast majority who try to do the right thing all the time, who are always trying to make America better, who want freedom, who love freedom. This is what the contrast is. And, tonight, I do feel like kind of, as part of my job, I feel like I have to kind of tune into the Democrat debate and, cringe, but I will listen to them. But I want to tell you one other thing about the Trump rally by contrast. Trump rallies have, as you likely hear, before every single one, they have people camped out a day or more before to be sure to get tickets, physically camping in tents. And they had a lineup of people camping in tents to get a ticket to get inside to the Trump rally happening tonight in Phoenix. And one group near the front of the line, which has just got to be making the left crazy, is the LGBT supporters of Trump. That's their name, Gays for Trump. They call themselves Gays for Trump. They're basically saying the guy loves America. He doesn't pick on anybody. We support him. We love America too. I mean, this has got to be making the left crazy. The other story about this rally tonight, before I turn in telling you why the story we talked about today matter to you, there was a woman who went to a Trump rally in New Hampshire. I will not read you her whole long letter, but she wrote this fabulous column. You can access it on our website, americacanwetalk.org, on the homepage, under shows, drop down, list of links. The article is called, "After Attending a Trump Rally, I Realized Democrats Are Not Ready for 2020. But what she basically said is, if anyone had told her even 3 years ago or 3 months ago that she would go to a Trump rally, she's saying, I would have said, you're crazy, no way, that will not ever happen. But she did. She went to the New Hampshire rally that President Trump held. She found the same thing I'm telling you about Trump rallies. People, they're not angry, they're not foaming at the mouth, they're not hateful, they're full of love for their neighbors themselves, love for America, love for freedom. And for President Trump, they're grateful for someone who is praising the goodness of America. That's why they're there. And that's what she heard. Her letter is very poignant. It almost can make you teary reading it. It's amazing the kind of revelation she had about America. But this is happening all over this country. People are re-inspired, not personal, sycophant support of President Trump, but of what he has engendered in the hearts of the American people to say, this is a great country. This is a country I want to support. This is a country I believe in. President Trump's America First, strong borders, restore the military, restore the working, the kind of self-reliant working people of America, the whole spirit of America, that we are self-reliant, we're not socialists, we have a country where families take care of themselves and we look out for each other and we're a caring, loving country. This is what President Trump has described, and the American people are saying, yeah, what he said, that I'm with that. Before I turn in telling you about the stories, why the stories we talk about today matter to you, 3 things I want to ask you. Number 1, if you're not on our list, we have a subscription. You can subscribe to my once-a-week newsletter. Every Friday, I make links to the shows of the past week. So if you go to our website, americacanwetalk.org, on the homepage, hit subscribe, and you can subscribe once a week newsletter. Comes out on Friday. I've never and never would share the list, sell it. It's just once a week. Number 2, whatever social media you're listening, how you're listening to this show, if you're on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you are, please like this Facebook page, comment, share this Facebook page. If you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe to a YouTube channel. It helps immensely. If you're on Twitter, please follow me on Twitter at Debbie Can We Talk. We put out in Periscope every day. Please like, follow. All you can do is support this show, which leads to my 3rd point. This show has been rolling for over 5 years. It is 100% listener supported. I don't get paid to do this, and I can't tell you, I burst with excitement every day at planning the show. I love doing it. It's about speaking up for America. But if you would like to help support this show and help me grow this show, help me get around the big tech media censors who are doing lots of unfriendly things to this show, I would appreciate your support. Again, at our website, americacanwetalk.org, on the homepage, hit donate. You can make a one-time donation or a recurring donation. Whichever you do, it's extremely helpful to keep this show rolling, because I don't want to stop speaking up for America, the most precious experiment in human liberty ever to bless this earth. Now, I'll tell you why the stories we talked about today matter to you. To start with, Matt the Wonderful has them ready. Okay, Texas CD32 Race for America. CD32 flipped from R to D in 2018 after 22 years of R. The D winner in 2018, Colin Allred, campaigned as a moderate. Since taking office, he's voted with Pelosi 100%, as all Democrats will do. Whatever they tell you. That's 100% with Pelosi, even 93% with AOC. This is the reality of just about every Democrat congressman or congresswoman. No matter how friendly or pleasant a D rep is, she votes with Pelosi, and Pelosi is controlled by the radical left that is intent on destroying America as founded. In last night's GOP candidate forum on CD32, which if you watched, it's on the whole 2 hours on my Facebook page, 5 candidates, venue of 300 seats, filled, standing room only, crowd engaged, fully on board with the importance of retaking the House, not merely winning the CD32 seat. MAGA, and I don't know how you're supposed to say KAG, Keep America Great, spirit, alive and well in Texas. On the second topic, Democrats detest the people in America. The Washington Post, liberal Democrat op-ed today, to fix the primaries, let the elites decide. The perfect capture of the Democrat, Socialist, Anti-American Party of 2020. Disdain for we the people deciding anything. Disdain for the American model of self-government. Disdain for American freedom. Give it all up for the elites and experts, for the leftists. The Trump signature poster is right. They're not after me, they're after you. I'm just in the way. And last point on the Trump rally versus the Dem debate tonight. A Trump rally celebrates America, a great and good country, a great and good people. At the front of the Phoenix line to get in, gaze for Trump. I don't know, that just cracks me up. Got to make the left nuts. The Trump agenda is lifting all boats. Trump's pro-America policies are resonating. America First is powerful and inclusive. It's not xenophobic or backwater. The Democrat debate will include subtexts that America and Americans are racist, bigoted, hateful, homophobic, xenophobic, greedy, and selfish. They ought to be pitted against each other, what the Democrats do. Pit us against each other on the basis of group identity, and you're going to be told you ought to surrender your money and your freedom to their collectivist agenda. Americans prefer a Trump rally and a Trump re-election. And that, my friends, is America Can We Talk for today. Thank you so much for tuning in every Monday through Thursday, 3 p.m. Central Time, where I always talk truth about America, because America matters. I'll talk to you next time.
Talk. Truth about America.
Can you